السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وأصلي وأسلم على من بعثه الله رحمة للعالمين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. أما بعد. إخواني في الله, we are continuing with our lecture series regarding the signs of the day of judgment. Sign number 55 from the signs of the day of judgment is that the evil people will leave the city of Medina. And the city of Medina eventually shall become empty and completely abandoned. Ikhwani fillah, the Prophet ﷺ encourages us as Muslims to always choose Medina as the city we should live in. This is the best city to live upon earth. It's even better than the city of Mecca. The city of Mecca is better than the city of Medina in terms of the places of worship that are present in Mecca. However, as a place of living, there's no place, ikhwan fillah, that reaches the city of Medina. There are no people like the people of Medina. And whoever has gone for Umrah or Hajj, they have seen this clearly. And for us who lived there for many years, it was very difficult for us even going for Umrah, and we stay in Mecca for one day, but we want to rush back to the city of Medina. That is how much the city of Medina has been made beloved to us. The city of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the very first capital city of Islam, the city that was chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be the Darul Hijrah, where the Muslims emigrated from Mecca to the city of Medina. So ikhwani fillah, this city has a lot of virtue, it has a lot of benefit. The Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam says that this Medina, city of Medina, is a clean city. It is a pure city. It purifies itself from the khubth, from the evil, from the dirt. And anyone who lives in Medina, it is Medina that has left them. It's Medina that does not want them. The Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, he says in a hadith, there will come a time a person will call his cousin or his close relative, let us go seek fortune. Let us go to a place of vacation that is better than Medina. Let us go to another city. Prophet ﷺ continues, he says, وَالْمَدِينَةُ خَيْرٌ لَهُمْ لَوْ كَانُوا يَعْلَمُونَ. And Medina is better for them if only they knew. Prophet ﷺ, he continues, he says, لَا يَخْرُجُ وَالَّذِي نَفْسِي بِيَدِهِ لَا يَخْرُجُ مِنْهُمْ أَحَدٌ رَغْبَةً عَنْهَا إِلَّا أَخْلَفَ اللَّهُ فِيهَا خَيْرًا مِنْهُ. Whoever lives the city of Medina, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will replace them with someone better than them. ألا إن المدينة كالكير يخرج الخبيث لا تقوم الساعة حتى تنفي المدينة شرارها كما تنفي الكير خبث الحديث. The city of Medina, the hour will not come until the city of Medina will remove the evil from within it. The same way iron is purified by the blacksmith. And ikhwani fillah, this has happened twice in our history, in the past and in the future. The very first time, the Munafiqun and the Bedouin Arabs, they left the city of Medina. And this is Medina purifying itself from them. And we shall look later on at the story of the Masih al-Dajjal, the greatest evil from the time Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Adam until the day of judgment. This Masih al-Dajjal will come near the city of Medina. And he'll try entering the city of Medina. But angels are guarding the city of Medina. He shall not be able to enter Medina. Then he shall go to a place called Al-Jurf, and he shall look at Medina, and he shall say, that is the white palace of Muhammad. That is the mosque of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You must have noticed this when you go to Medina. All the buildings are lower than the mosque of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In the entire city of Medina, there's no building taller than the mosque of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Wherever you stand in Medina, you can see the mosque of Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. So this Masih al-Dajjal will stand in a place called Al-Jurf, and he'll command the earth to shake, tremors, earthquakes, and the Munafiqun from the people of Medina shall leave the city of Medina. And hence the city of Medina will be purified again. And this is one of the signs of the day of judgment. He'll make the earth earthquake 3 times. It will shake 3 times. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمِنْ أَهْلِ الْمَدِينَةِ مَرَدُوا عَلَى النِّفَاقِ. And from some of the people from the city of Medina are hypocrites. And ikhwani fillah, the unfortunate thing is the Rafidah, the Ithna Ashariya, the Shia are also present in the city of Medina, especially in the areas of Al-Awali and such areas. And these are definitely from the Munafiqun. These are definitely from the Munafiqun. For they have the same attribute of insulting the mother of the believers, Aisha, the same way their father of the Munafiqun, Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul. He insulted the wife of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The Prophet alayhi salatu wasallam was asked, Man ahabbu nas ilayk? Who is the most beloved person to you, O Prophet of Allah? He says, Aisha. He says, the one I love the most in this world is Aisha. قال ومن الرجال, from the men, who do you love most? قال أبوها. He says, her father. Aisha and her father are the most beloved people to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And we the believers also love them a lot. But if you are a munafiq, you shall hate these people. And from amongst the people of Medina, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمِنْ أَهْلِ الْمَدِينَةِ مَرَدُوا عَلَى النِّفَاقِ. And from some of the city of Medina are the people of nifaq. And these people shall be removed by the Masih al-Dajjal when he causes the earth to shake, and they shall join the party of Masih al-Dajjal. This is one of the things that will happen to the city of Medina. It will remove the evil. And the second thing, ikhwani fillah, and which is the most strange before the day of judgment, is that the city of Medina shall become empty. There shall be no one in the city of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Even the dogs will enter the mosque and use the mosques as they wish. There shall be no one left in this great city, this glorious city of Medina. What will happen? That everyone will leave the city of Medina? We do not know. The Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, he says, تُتْرَكُونَ الْمَدِينَةِ عَلَى خَيْرِ مَا كَانَتْ. You shall leave the city of Medina in the best state it is in. لَا يَغْشَاهَا إِلَّا الْعَوَافِ. No one will stay in it except the wild animals. وَآخِرُ مَنْ يُحْشَرْ رَاعِيَانِ مِنْ مُزَيْنَةٍ. And the two last people who shall be resurrected are from two shepherds from Muzayna, from the tribes of Muzayna. They want to go to the city of Medina. Prophet ﷺ, a different hadith, he says, لا تتركن المدينة على أحسن ما كانت حتى يدخل الكلب أو الذئب فيغذي على بعد سوار المسجد. You shall leave the city of Medina in the best state as it is in, until a dog or a wolf shall enter the mosque and urinate in some of the columns of the mosque of the Prophet ﷺ. From the signs of the day of judgment is that the city of Medina shall be left empty and no one shall enter the city. Also for benefit, this city of Medina is where the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is buried. And this is where also his two companions, or his three companions, Abu Bakr and Umar, are buried with him. Uthman ibn Affan is buried near Baqi'. In Baqi', most of the mothers of the believers are buried. And many of the Sahaba are buried in these graves of Baqi'. In our history, some evil people, they have tried a crime that has no justification completely. About 4 times or 5 times, people have tried to go to the city of Medina and to steal the body of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Number 1, in the year 400 of the Hijri calendar, Egypt was being ruled by the Ismailis. You know the Ismailis, the Aga Khan and so on. So they were ruling Egypt and most of North Africa, the Dawla al-Ubaidiyya. They were known as the Ubaidids or the Dawla al-Fatimiyya, the Fatimids. One of their leaders is called Mansur, la'natullah alayh. In the year 400 of the Hijri calendar, ikhwani fillah, this man decided to do something, and he was the very first man to try such an evil act. His ministers told him, you have done everything to encourage people to come to this city of Egypt, to Cairo, for tourism or for worship. We need that income. We're seeing people going to the city of Medina. We give you a good idea. Send someone to Medina to take the bodies of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Abu Bakr and Umar and bring it to Egypt. So that people, instead of going to Medina, they shall come to Egypt. This is the year 400 of the Hijri calendar. So he sends a man called Abu al-Futuh to Egypt to steal the body of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So this man comes to Medina. He leaves his army just outside Medina and enters the city of Medina. The people of Medina, they understand his mission. And one of the reciters of the Quran comes to his gathering and he recites the following verses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَلَا تُقَاتِلُونَ قَوْمًا نَكَثُوا أَيْمَانَهُمْ وَهَمُّوا بِإِخْرَاجِ الرَّسُولِ وَهُمْ بَدَؤُوكُمْ أَوَّلَ مَرَّةٍ أَتَخْشَوْنَهُمْ فالله أحق أن تخشوه إن كنتم مؤمنين قاتلوهم يعذبهم الله بأيديكم ويخزهم وينصركم عليهم ويشفي صدور قوم مؤمنين. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says in the Quran, ألا تقاتلون قوما نكثوا أيمانهم. Are you not going to fight a people who have broken their promise? They have violated their promise. وَهَمُّوا بِإِخْرَاجِ الرَّسُولِ. And they wished to remove the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. When the Muslims, they had these verses, they got their passions up and they said, we shall defend the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. بِأَبِي وَأُمِّي. With our fathers, with our mothers, we shall sacrifice ourselves in defense of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. وَجَهَزُوا لِلْقِتَالِ. And they prepared for battle to fight this munafiqun who came from Egypt, to fight these hypocrites who came to desecrate the grave of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. When this man Abu al-Futuh had this, he said, I fear Allah. I except I've made a mistake, I shall not do anything to the grave of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, even if my leader in Egypt requests me to do so. Ikhwani fillah, on that day, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent a wind and destroyed most of this Egyptian army, and none were left except they went back in retreat. This was the very first attempt to steal the body of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. This Mal'un, this leader of Egypt, Imam al-Dhahabi says, كان فرعون زمانه. He was a Fir'aun of his time. خبيثا. He was khabith. سفاكا للدماء. He used to spill blood, and he set out on this mission of stealing the body of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Attempt number 2 was also by him, Mansur. And just for benefit, akhwani fillah, when you find people celebrating the Mawlid al-Nabawi, they're celebrating Milad al-Nabawi. Where did this Milad al-Nabawi start? It started with these people in Egypt, the Dawla al-Fatimiyya, the Ubaidids, the Ismailis. Read our history and understand who were the very first people to follow this Mawlid al-Nabawi. Are these the people who are going to take our religion from? These are people who massacred scholars. They massacred ulama. They banned you. You're not allowed to have a name called Abu Bakr Umar. And they also set on this mission of stealing the body of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Number 3, the year 557 of the Hijri calendar. One of the righteous leaders of Islam, one of the greatest heroes of Islamic history, the Sultan Nuruddin Mahmud al-Zanki. Memorize this name, ikhwani fillah. When you go back home tonight, check YouTube, listen about his story, read about this man, Zanki, Nuruddin Mahmud Zanki, one of the greats of Islamic history. If this man was not there, Salahuddin al-Ayyubi will not be there. Everything Salahuddin al-Ayyubi did in conquering Jerusalem goes back to the hasanat of the leader before him. This leader we're talking about, Nuruddin Zanki Mahmud. This Sultan, one night, he praised the Qiyamul Layl. He praised the tahajjud, and it was from the attributes of the righteous people and also the leaders that they stand up at night to perform the Qiyamul Layl. So he wakes up at night, he prays the Qiyamul Layl, rahimahullah. ثم ينام. Then he sleeps. ورأى في منامه رؤية عجيبة. And he sees in his sleep an amazing dream. رأى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. He sees the Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم. وقد قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. And the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام, he says, من رآني في المنام فقد رآني حقا فإن الشيطان لا يتمثل به. Whoever sees me in a dream has seen me indeed. For shaitan can never look like me in the dream. So this man, he saw the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام. And the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام says to him, يا محمود, O Mahmud, أنقذني من هذين رجلين. Save me from these 2 men. And he points to 2 men who are blonde and having a reddish complexion. Imam Nuruddin al-Zanki Mahmud, he wakes up frightened. He says, اللهم صل وسلم على نبينا محمد. ثم صلى ركعتين. He prays 2 rak'ah. ثم ينام. Then he sleeps and he sees the same dream. He sees the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam telling him, أنقذني من هذين رجلين. O Mahmud, save me from these 2 people. The year 557 of the Hijri calendar. ثم استيقظ فزعا. He wakes up in shock once again, prays 2 rak'atayn, and he sleeps, and he sees the same dream for the third time. He sees who? The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. فنادى بوزيره, he calls his wazir, Jamaluddin al-Mawsili. He says, Jamaluddin, I've seen such and such a dream. The righteous minister says to him, why are you still here in Syria? What is making you sit here? You should have been leaving for Medina right now. So he packs up some wealth, some of sadaqah, and he sets out to the city of Medina with his minister. He reaches Medina after 16 days. Then he reaches Medina, immediately he calls everyone in Medina. He wants to give them sadaqah, he wants to give them gifts. So all the people of Medina come, and he gives one person gift. But he does not see the 2 men he saw in his dream. He says to the people of Medina, is this all of you? They say, yes, it is all of us. No. Is this all of you? He says, there are 2 men from Morocco. MashaAllah, righteous people, Ubbad, worshippers, Sawam, Qawwam. They are the people of Siyam, the people of Qiyam. They give a lot of sadaqah. They are rich, they did not need to come here. He says, no, Nadahuma, bring them here to me. And these 2 men are brought. Immediately he sees them. These are the 2 people I saw in my dream. He asks them, what is your story? He says, us, we have come for Hajj. We have come to do ibadah. We want to stay near the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. We have come here. We love Islam. We love the Muslims. A lot of stories. Type. Show me where you live. So the Muslims are wondering what's going on. These are 2 nice people. Why is the Sultan focused so much on these 2 people? Sultan says, show me where you live. So they go to his house. The Sultan goes around. He sees all the wealth. Then he sees a carpet. Remove this carpet. They remove a carpet, ikhwani fillah. And one of the most shocking things in Islamic history was discovered. In the year 557 of the Hijri calendar, these 2 men, ikhwani fillah, had dug a tunnel from their room, from their house, to the grave of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. They were just a few days from stealing. If they were able to, they were not able to. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protects the Prophet in his life and his death. Wallahu ya'asimuka minan nas. Allah has kept a promise that he is going to protect the Prophet alayhi salam. The Prophet does not need any bodyguard. But this man was so close to the grave of the Prophet alayhi salatu salam. The people of Medina were all shaken. They were frightened. What were you 2 doing? They refused to talk. They were beaten up thoroughly. And they said, we were sent by the Crusaders from Morocco. We're given a lot of wealth to pretend to be Muslims. We are not Muslims, we're Christians. We came here to steal the body of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam and to go with it back to our country. The Sultan Mahmud, he started crying. He says, Allah, you have raised my status to this level that I've been given the virtue or the benefit or the chance to save Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And he executed these 2 men immediately. And he ordered for the grave of the Prophet ﷺ to be near the grave, to be dug and to be filled with molten lead, and no one is able to tunnel in to the grave of Prophet ﷺ. And other events happened, ikhwani fillah, where people tried stealing the body of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. Amongst these people, ikhwani fillah, just for benefit, in Kenya here we have Vasco da Gama. You've heard of Vasco da Gama. This was a Portuguese explorer. If you are aware about history, we've spoken about before, Portugal and Spain were under the Muslims for 800 years. We ruled these people for 800 years. And these lands were taken from us. And these people, the amount of hatred they had for Islam, they wanted to harm Muslims in any manner, in any form. Vasco da Gama, this person who is called an explorer, is an evil man. Including Christopher Columbus, the person who is mentioned to be the one who discovered America. That's fake news. These are evil men who massacred millions and millions or hundreds of thousands of people. Vasco da Gama goes to India, massacres many Muslims in India. Then his son, Christopher Columbus, Christopher Vasco da Gama, if I'm not wrong, he sets out on a mission also to go to the grave of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But before he does that, he lands in Somalia and he wants to fight the Muslims there first, then cross the Red Sea and enter through Jeddah, enter to Medina. And he met one of the heroes from Somalia, one of the heroes of Islamic history, Ahmed Ismail al-Ghazi, Ahmed Gure. And this man fought him and defeated him and finished this plot that was plotted against the Prophet ﷺ and his grave. So, Ikhwani fillah, there are many people who have tried with their evil to harm or to harm or to remove the body of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ikhwani fillah, sign number 56 from the signs of the Day of Judgment is the last sign we're taking tonight, Ikhwani fillah. And inshallah on Thursday after Maghrib we shall continue the lectures. So sign number 56, the بعث الريح الطيبة لقبض أرواح المؤمنين. From the signs of the Day of Judgment is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will send a wind that shall take the souls of every believer. Any person who is a believer on this earth shall have their soul taken at that time by that wind, and no Muslim shall remain on the face of the earth. The Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, he says, إذ بعث الله ريحا طيبة. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will send a good wind, فَتَأْخُذَهُمْ تَحْتَ أَبَاطِهِمْ, and he shall take their souls from under their armpits. فَتُقْبَضُ رُوحُ كُلُّ مُؤْمِنٍ وَكُلُّ مُسْلِمٍ وَيَبْقَى شِرَارُ النَّاسِ يَتَهَارَجُونَ فِيهَا تَهَارُجَ الْحُمُرِ فَعَلَيْهِمْ تَقُومُ السَّاعَةِ. All the souls of the believers, any person who has iman in their hearts, mu'min or Muslim, they shall have their souls taken. And the only people who remain on the earth are the evil people. يَتَهَارَجُونَ فِيهَا تَهَارُجَ الْحُمُرِ. They shall be having intercourse on the roads the same way donkeys have it on the roads. فَعَلَيْهِمْ تَقُومُ السَّاعَةِ. Upon them is when the hour shall be established. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لا تزال طائفة من أمتي يقاتلون الحق ظاهرين إلى يوم القيامة. So, Ikhwani fillah, from the signs of the Day of Judgment is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will send a wind, and this wind shall take the souls of the believers. Ikhwani fillah, in the next lecture, inshallah, we shall look at how the Kaaba and how the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shall be destroyed. And this is the final minor sign we shall take. Also, we shall look at a great fitna that occurred about 43 years ago. The fitna of Juhayman al-Utaybi, who entered the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Mecca with his group, and a great fitna ensued, and many Muslims lost their lives in Mecca in the year 1400 of the Hijri calendar. We shall also look at the fitna of Juhayman al-Utaybi, and we shall also look at the Qaramita, the group that stole the Hajar al-Aswad from the year 317 of the Hijri calendar and remained their lands for many years, and a part of the Hajar al-Aswad was forever lost due to this Shia group from the Qaramita. Wallahu alam, wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.